Righto, so we're ready to go for the last quarter. Mansett have their heads up, even though they're trailing by 3 points. Righto, so we're ready to go for the last quarter. Little Jezza, hopefully get the clearance out of the middle. Mansett have their heads up, the strong breeze, even though they're trailing by 3 points. Righto, so we're ready to go for the last quarter. Little Jezza, hopefully get the clearance out of the middle. Mansett have their heads up.
Jackie McKenzie also down there. Here we go, last quarter, 2022 Reserves Grand Final. Ball goes up. Jimmy Wild straight through the middle. Caught, dropped it. Spills out. Jez Brewer there, runs over it. It's a hot potato in there, I tell you. Umpire say I'll have it.
First goal this quarter going to make a big difference.
Hoof smacks up 20 metres.
Great by Hoof, smacks it 20 metres. Mount's going to be the first onto it. And he's picked it up. It's a long handball. Hit Jezza, another handball. Now we're looking at the target across the ground. Oh, he's missed the kick, but it'll still bounce up for him. And it's Fitzy, is it?
Yeah, it's Fitzy.
Kicks the ball along.
Good
Got
mark,
him.
Chili
Well
Dogs.
done. Now, got to get him. Go straight to Mitch while he's on his own. Long and direct. And that's what he's doing. He's looking for him. Still bounce up. Has he got it to him? Mitch has got the ball on the bounce. Bad luck, and it's gone out of bounds. Great effort by Mitch. And that's where Mount's won it in their forward line.
That's right. We've got to lock it in now. Hoofer doesn't have a man. He's going to make his way over. One-on-ones everywhere. Push against Mitch Bennett. Comes out this side now. Hoofer's going to fly for that. Goes over all the back of them. Whitehill's got it. They're going to keep it in here. Runs it down the wing. It's not a bad kick.
Good kick.
And they're out here.
Got him, ball.
Great.
He must have handballed it. The umpire's called play on. Harvey G's got his foot to it. No.
Alrighty, sorry to interrupt the footy, but I just realised I didn't have a mic when I was doing the early introduction, so just testing now that I have got a microphone working. Back to the footy.
Jezza, great handball by Jezza. Kicks it up, looking for Hudo over the back. Ball's hit the ground, he's picked it off the ground, that will do. But as Whitehill's going to be first to the ball, looks like Mitch has had to leave the square. And he has, and he's hit him nice and hard. And another big pressure here. Great work. We've been outnumbered here and done a great job. Now Mount's getting numbers there, that's ball. Umpire says he'll take it. Huff's put himself loose, just kick behind the play here, just in case that ball comes out. Someone's coming up to him now.
Burke caught his feet, comes out, Doe's going to be the first one to get it. Again, Hardy. Who else is there? Bishy's there, Bishy gets it out, back to Dozer. Ball's in dispute down there. Right in front of the forward, the wing there, now side, it's going to be a ball up.
Umpire's going to call for it.
Ball goes up, Hoof again. Straight to Whitehills, they're going to clear it. Harvey G, good contest there, great contest, kept his feet, middle of the ground. Jack Hetherington lurking, Jez Brewer, Mount's got the numbers there now. Whitehills, just a kick in hope. It's going to come off too. There's two numbers there for Whitehills. Ollie Bish for Mounts. Through the player, Whitehills going to go deep in forward, 50 out, kicks it long. Take Griffin, got it. Big fella didn't lock it. Whitehills moving backwards. Take through the other side now. Gives it to Jack Hetherington and says run. Here's Heathers, he's like a gazette. Shows him the can, he's going to take him on and gets caught. That's ball. Bad luck. Whitehills down. Hold him up.
Free kick the Mounts.
They're out. Here they go, Reed McCall for Chili Dogs. He goes centre forward to Huda. Huda gets on the half volley over his head. Here Jack McKenzie comes in. Whitehill's the numbers though. Whitehill's going to clear it out the other side. Jez Brewer applying pressure. Over to Rowan Balls. A little worse hand drop than me. Whitehill's centre of the ground here. They're out again. Hoofer comes up to meet the ball.
That's high.
Just hop the potato there. No one wants to pick it up. Comes in and wide. We're going to get it forward again. That's what we're going to do. It's right across the ground.
That's a nowhere kick that's gone straight up. Yeah, it's actually gone our way. The wind's got hold of it. Good work. Mount's applying pressure again. What's the umpire calling here? High. Bit stiff there. Wide is looking to go further. Mount's got a loose one here. And they've hit
Dirty prick.
50
That's
metres.
dirty, you'll see. He couldn't make a kick all day. Lost. Anyway, it's going to be 50.
Give Mount a chance to go 40 here.
Not a very big 50.
Who's in a one-on-one?
Get it
Got to
on.
go long.
Get
Got
it
to go
on.
long. Go to Hooter. He's looking for him. Hooter's there.
Comes the ground, Jackie Craig. Get it, you good thing.
Bad luck. Good effort. Went to Banana.
That's all right, we've got it, we've got to lock it in. 2 points to margin, 50 plays 48, 6.5 gone in the fourth. They're going to come out this side by the looks of it. They've got an extra number out here, Ollie Bish. He's pretty quick. He's going to end up marking it, is he? Over the top. Contested. Umpires says it's there.
It's coming out.
It's coming out. Here's your man, one hand. Yeah, well
Great
done. Jacob
mark.
Hopley.
The cold hoops. Well done, mate. Good work.
Good hoopsy.
His
Hopley's
experience.
done well.
Those got out of the zone. All the backs are pushed up the ground, taking all their forward line players up with them, and he's gone long, kicking it home again in the same spot as before. Mitchy Bennett drew his draws the crowd.
Jackie Craig off the
Jackie
back.
Craig tries to get a handball out, couldn't quite get it out, and it's a mark to Smithy. Now you think Smithy's going to put this really, really deep, and he's gone long and wide, and he's looking for
Connor Moore.
Couldn't quite get him, but the ball is in a good spot for Mounts.
Again, good throw in. Mitchy Bennett's going to do the ruck work straight down to Jackie Craig. He's been swallowed. Can't pay that. Umpires the hell out of that. We'll do it again.
No prior opportunity.
Who to deep? Jackie McKenzie at 30 out directly in front. Headers it at about 50 yard ball directly in front of goal.
Craig's in there again, putting the pressure on. Quick kick, Cambia. He's left it behind. Hoof is kicking it in forward to hurry. Kick, it's a good kick. It's in the good spot. Free kick. Jack McKenzie has to get a free kick.
Usually a good set shot,
And
Jack.
a beautiful set shot. I can see this kid playing seniors in the future. Just got to build his frame up a bit and get to the gym. He's so strong overhead. Nice user of the ball.
He just pops up, doesn't he? He just pops up when you least expect him.
Absolutely. You think he'd be an elusive half-forward flanker in years to come in the seniors.
Pressure kick here for Jackie. He's split the boys 4 points up. Can he do it? He's got the breeze behind him. Whitey's giving it to him. And he kicked truly.
And he's kicked it.
Come on, boys!
And Mounts hit the front at the 8-minute 45-second mark of the final quarter.
7-8-50 plays 8-6-54, and I tell you what, that forward line is just dangerous. If it's not Jackie McKenzie, it's Hooter. If it's not Hooter, it's Mitch Bennett. It's not Mitch Bennett. It's either Reed or it's Zachy Featherby. In saying that, Zach Featherby's coming to this wing closest to us, both shoulder strap. Plays a little bit like Chris Judd, like you'd like to think too.
He's been pretty quiet today, Zach, but I reckon this quarter he could bob up and kick one.
He's got an endurance tank like you wouldn't believe on all the time trials announced in the pre-season and through mid-year. You run there all day. Ball works its way back to the middle. A little bit of push and shove. Jackie McKenzie just let me know. So that's 2 I've kicked on you now. 2 crucial goals. Another couple here to bounce. 9.5 gone in the last. 54 plays 50. Those are Jez Brewer and Jimmy Walsh on Moore Brigade. It's come down to Conor Mulqueeney again. Dozer. He's without the ball. Stiff there, very stiff.
Good to see Mounts get their hands on the ball in that contest. Up in the ruck again we go. Great tap by Hoof. What's going on here? Free kick. Who's the free kick against?
Hills ball. It's got to be that big fella has to take it, doesn't he? He's going to go out wide.
Oh, he's taking a mark.
He doesn't mess around. He goes long. Who's going to get back there? Well done, Hoofer.
Well done, took him the ground. Gives Smitty a
Makes
chance
a
to
one,
run out.
one.
How good has Smitty been in defence today?
Except for that kick, he's been brilliant.
He's been really good. He's just been mopping everything up, hasn't he? He's been great.
You know, remember what he was kicking in with Breeze, and then was going to lock it in 50 metres out of it. It's going to fall short.
That's correct, yep.
And again, that's a great mark. That's why in the end, I think you've best on so far. Hoofer.
Switch the ball back into the middle of Walshy. Hopefully Walshy by footy can hit the target. If not, he's just got to go long. He's got to go long and deep. He's got to go... Oh, he's going to come through the middle of the ground, taking a few chances here. Well, that's a missed kick, but it'll work. We'll take it.
Mitch Bennett on 1 in 50 here. Got to get it to him ASAP.
And he kicked it in his direction, and Mitchie's there.
Off hands, but Jackie Craig.
Oh, Jackie Craig, yeah.
Get in there.
Bad luck, exactly the same spot as the last one. Well done, good effort.
It looked very dangerous.
Looking really dangerous.
Just about here, trying to lock it in, trying to lock it in and get a score as Warriors bring it out. 30 out. They're going to keep it on that far side. Play on the call, those are attacks. Force him, kick it up in the air. Jez Brewer under that, and Jez Brewer straight through his arms. Warriors bring it along, Ollie Bish.
Well done, Ollie. Good work, good spoil.
He's done it all year. He just pops up, gets that golden fist in. So it's Zachy feathering in the middle of the ground there. No one within 10 or 15 metres of him. Apart from that, she's one-on-ones all over the ground. Tensy's going up.
It's another good contest. There'll be another ball up. Got a loose guy on play here. 47, who are these? Hoppers, Hoppers finished off loose, yep.
Oh, he's paid in that. So on centre wing, fast
Play
side.
on. He's forced him to kick. Got a tall under the ball. Ball's come to the ground. Then Mount's mopping up here. Whitehill plays the losing ball. He's gone for a short pass. Missed the target. Blake's out in his zone. Mount's get there to apply the pressure. Who's apply the pressure? Forces him into a handball. He's on his wrong foot. Looks like Smitty's there. It looks like Mount's got hold of the ball and it comes running out. And it's a long, deep kick and it's going to hit the target. No. Good spoil by Whitehills. Yeah. Good work by Walshy there.
Really well done there by the experienced Jimmy. Played 13 and a half here. Straight to Whitehills, they're going to get it in deep. About 20 metres, dangerous spot.
Oh, he's almost marked it. It's come to the ground. Mount's recovered well here. Got numbers outside the pack. Directly in front of the Whitehills goal. Mount's need to get a quick kick out of here.
All day the defenders going well.
Absolutely. One-on-one.
From loose midfield running back.
So we've got it here. So Hooves gets a quick kick out. It's going to go over the top. Mount's got a chance to run onto it here. Whitehills is going to be there first. We've got someone in tow here. Bumpy, oh, he's got it. By Whitehills, they never wanted it. Unbelievable. And he's kicked the line and Mitchie Bennett.
Over the top, Jez
Jez is there.
Jez Brewer.
And put a block on for him. Jez has got it. Handball back. Got the Reardon about to have a kick. And he's trying to hit it. He's getting held onto.
Big fella's on here.
He's going to have a goal.
You rip up.
No, he missed it. He missed it.
Wow.
Wow. Opportunity. Big words. The big fella has a...
Alrighty, 7 o'clock. Bang on. I just wanted to wait for that shot on goal by the big fella. Best on ground in a reserves premiership. Well done, Mitch Bennett. 3 goals, 5. That was one of the 5. Just really getting ready for our first vote count under 13s netball at 5:05. Just a quick introduction of a great season that the Mount Pleasant Football Netball Club has had this year. All but 2 teams playing finals. 5 of our teams, 3 netball, 2 football, competing in grand finals and coming away with 2 premierships, the under 15s netball and the reserves football. It's been a long journey for our great club back to the top of the Heathcote District Football Netball League. So whilst we fell short in a few games on the last day in September, overall, it's been a very successful season. We should be all very proud of, and we should all be very excited about 2023. We're looking forward to that. So, quickly, as an introduction to tonight's vote counts, we will be doing the vote counts for each team, but we won't be doing the whole vote count. We'll be stopping with it to be continued. So we'll probably have 3 or 4 rounds in each grade to call out at our presentation night tomorrow night at St Killian's Hall, starting at 6 o'clock. With the other exciting thing about our year, the under 10s, first time we've had an under 10s team in the Bendigo Junior Footy League, and we're hoping next year we can that can grow from little things, big things grow. Under 10s, under 12s, and it'd be great to have a full junior alignment over time. And I thank Sonia Brown for her efforts with the juniors. So we're very close to the 7:05 starting time for our first vote count, which is the under 13s netball. This is very exciting. This is the first year the under 13s have a competitive competition. Previously, it was a primary grade with no ladders, no finals, and the league changed this year to a competitive grade with finals for our under 13 netball team. So it's an inaugural, like our under 10s football, it's an inaugural under 13s netball side, which will jump into the vote count in roughly 2 minutes. Alrighty, welcome to our first vote count for 2022 under 13s netball. Round 1 was at Elmore, and we had everyone agreeing on the 3 players in the votes in the first game for the under 13s netball. 2 votes. Elsie Tui, 4 votes. Paige Christensen, 6 votes. Ayla Nile. Round 2, there was no game in the under 13 competition. Round 3 was at Heathcote. We had 4 players in the votes, a perfect 6 at the top of the card, starting with our 1 vote, Drew Brown, 2 votes, Paige Christensen, 3 votes, Lily Eckhart, and 6 votes, best on, Ayla Nile at the top of the leaderboard with 12 votes. Round 4 was the first game at Tullaline for the under 13 girls. 5 players sharing the votes and another perfect 6, starting with the 1 vote, Ayla Nile and Jada Bauer. 2 votes to Paige Christensen moving into 3rd, and Drew Brown best on with 6 votes. Lily Eckhart moving into 2nd, closing the gap on Ayla at the top of the leaderboard. Round 5 versus Huntley. 4 players in the votes. 1 vote, Paige Christensen moving back up to 2nd. 1 vote, Elsie Tui. 4 votes, Ayla Nile extending a lead at the top of the leaderboard. Best on with 6 votes. Jada Bauer moving into 4th. Round 6, back to Tullaline versus Lockington. 1 vote, Ashley Dempster and Ruby Dankers. 3 votes, Lily Eckhart and Paige Christensen tying for 2nd. Best on with 4 votes. Ayla Nile extending a lead. Very close for 2nd. Paige and Lily all tied up on 12 votes each. Jada only 5 votes behind. Ayla looking good out in front by 9 votes. Round 7 was a general bye. Round 8 was versus North Bendigo at North Bendigo. Again, everyone agreed with the outcome of this game. 2 votes, Drew Brown. 4 votes, Lily Eckhart. Best on with 6 votes, Paige Christensen, reeling in that gap to Ayla. Only 3 votes in it now. Round 9, back at Tullaline versus Colbernabon. Sharing the votes around with 5 players getting votes on court. 1 vote, Ruby Dankers. 2 votes, Lexi Walsh. 2 votes, Drew Brown. 3 votes, Jada Bauer. Best on with 4 votes, Ayla Nile. Moving further ahead. Round 10 back at Tulane versus Elmore. Another perfect 6, starting with the 1 votes, Drew Brown and Lexi Walsh. 4 votes, Ayla Nile. Best on with 6 votes, Lily Eckhart. Moving into second. Round 11, again there was no game in the under 13 competition. Round 12, at home, playing Heathcote. 4 players in the votes, 1 vote, Jada Bauer. 2 votes, Remy Comer. 4 votes, Paige Christensen moving up to second, and best on with 5 votes, Ayla Nile. Very close after 12 rounds, and this is where we'll stop the count and move to be continued tomorrow night at St Killian's Hall, with the vote Ayla Nile with 34 votes in the lead, all tied up for second place, Lily Eckhart and Paige Christensen, Jada Bauer on 11 votes. So well done so far, girls. Let's look forward to continuing the remainder of the vote count tomorrow night at St Killian's. Our next vote count will be at 7:10 for the under 15s netball. Under 15 netballers, premiership winners for 2022. It was a great game of netball, close game. Best game of the season saved for the last game in September. Okay, moving right along with our premiership under 15 netball side vote count. Again, round 1 coincidentally was also at Elmore. Funny about that. Only a 2-point win. Close games all year. 5 players in the vote to start the vote count in round 1. 2 votes, Macy Jacobs. 2 votes, Lucy Wilkinson. 2 votes, Tali Nile. 3 votes, Claire Dunstan and Madeline Nile at the top of the leaderboard. We can see the forecast of the next 4 rounds. If there's a white square, it means you've played. If there's a red square, you didn't play. If there's a green tick, it means you were named in the best on the day. Doesn't necessarily translate to votes. Gives a bit of an indication whether you were playing well in future rounds. Round 2, back to Tulane against White Hills. A big win for the the girls, and a perfect 6 at the top of the card. 1 vote, Juliet Hogan. 1 vote, Bree Toohey. 2 votes to Madeline Nile moving into second, and Lucy Wilkinson locking down third. Best on with 6 votes, Tali Nile at the top of the leaderboard on 8 votes. Round 3 was at Heathcote. 2 votes, Madeline Nile. 3 votes, Claire Dunstan moving into third. 3 votes, Tali Nile extending a lead. Best on with 4 votes, Macy Jacobs tying up third place on the leaderboard. Round 4, back to Tulane versus Leachville. Another solid win. 1 vote, Lucy Wilkinson and Indy Anderson. 4 votes, Tali Nile extending her lead. Best on ground with 6 votes. What will this do to the leaderboard? Madeline Nile closing the gap to only 2 votes between first and second. Claire and Macy tied up on third. Round 5 at Huntley, 5 players in the votes, 3 with 2, 2 with 3, 2 votes, Macy Jacobs, Lucy Wilkinson and Madeline Nile, 3 votes to Claire Dunstan and Sophia Minotti. Round 6 back to Tulane versus Lockington. We lost this one, but we beat them in the one that counts. Everyone agreed on the result of this game. 2 votes, Talia Nile. 4 votes, Macy Jacobs moving into third. Best on with 6 votes. Madeline Nile taking the lead. Round 7 was a general bye. Round 8 was at North Bendigo. Another good win. 5 players in the votes. 1 vote, Madeline Nile, here's an opportunity to close the gap. 2 votes. Charlie Crawford, 2 votes. Macy Jacobs, 3 votes. Juliet Hogan, best on with 4 votes. Sophia Minotti, moving up the leaderboard into 5th. Round 9, back to Tulane versus Colbernabban. Only 3 players in the votes. Not everyone agreed, but there was 3 votes to Macy Jacobs, moving into 2nd. 4 votes, Madeline Nile, staying at the top of the leaderboard, best on with 5 votes. Sophia Minotti, making a run for the top 3. Round 10 at Tulane versus Elmore. Again, only 3 players in the votes. 3 votes, Charlie Crawford. 4 votes, Madeline Nile, best on with 5 votes. Juliet Hogan, moving into 5th. Round 11 versus White Hills. At White Hills, 1 vote. Bree Toohey, 3 votes. Lucy Wilkinson, 3 votes. Claire Dunstan, and 5 votes. Best on Tali Nile, closing the gap again. Only 8 votes between 1st and 2nd. Round 12, back to Tulane against Heathcote. Strong win. 5 players polling in the votes. 1 vote. Claire Dunstan, 2 votes. Indy Anderson, 2 votes. Lucy Wilkinson, 3 votes. Macy Jacobs extending a lead in 3rd, and with best on in 4 votes, Madeline Nile. Very tight vote count, especially for 2nd and 3rd. Madeline's got a bit of a gap out there on 12 votes ahead, only 2 votes separating 2nd and 3rd, only 7 votes, and 8 votes back to 4th, 5th and 6th. So again, we will end the vote count after round 12 with the leaderboard as it stands, and we will finish the vote count tomorrow night at St Killian's Hall. Our next vote count, which will be the under-17s netball, will be at 7:15 in another couple of minutes. Another good season for under-17 netball. Made it all the way to the grand final at Huntly. Just missing out at the last game. A lot of good netball played. Let's move into the vote count for our 17 and under netball. Round 1 at Elmore. 4 players in the votes. 1 vote, Audrey Gajulio. 1 vote, Molly Anderson. 5 votes, Ava Nile. 5 votes, Olivia Nile. All locked up at the top of the leaderboard with the Niles. Round 2, back to Tulane v White Hills. Only 3 players in the votes. Everyone agreed. 2 votes, Shay Osborne. 4 votes, Ava Nile. 6 votes, Audrey Gajulio, moving into 2nd. Round 3 at Heathcote. It was a draw, 30 apiece. Couldn't be separated. 1 vote, Ava Nile. 2 votes, Audrey Gajulio. 3 votes, Piper Wright. Best on with 6 votes. Perfect score, Olivia Nile taking the lead on the leaderboard. Round 4 at Tulane versus Leachville. 1 vote, Ella Wilkinson and Madeline Nile. 5 votes, Ava Nile, and 5 votes, Olivia Nile. Lots of Niles on court that day and lots of Niles polling in the votes. Still only 1 vote between 1st and 2nd. Audrey still very close in 3rd. Round 5 at Huntly, 1 vote, Ella Wilkinson. 2 votes, Piper Wright. 4 votes, Olivia Nile, extending a lead at the top of the leaderboard, but best on with 5 votes, Ava Nile. All locked up, 20 votes apiece at the top of the leaderboard. Round 6, back to Tulane versus Lockington. Another perfect 6 at the top of the card. 1 vote, Piper Wright. 2 votes, Audrey Gajulio. 3 votes, Ava Nile in 2nd. Best on with 6 votes, Olivia Nile. Breaking the draw and going to a 3-point lead. Round 7 was a bye. Round 8 was at North Bendigo. We had 4 players in the votes. Another perfect round of 6 votes at the top of the card. 1 vote, Ava Nile. 1 vote, Madeline Nile. 4 votes, Olivia Nile. It's all about the Niles, but best on with a perfect 6 for North Bendigo round 8. Audriga Giulio closing the gap on the 2 leaders and lots of green ticks ahead. Round 9 at Tulane versus Colbernabon. Only 3 players polling in this game. 3 votes. Ava Nile staying in second. 3 votes. Audriga Giulio not letting her get away in third. Best on with 6 votes. Olivia Nile extending a lead at the top of the leaderboard. But look at those ticks. What will happen? Round 10 back to Tulane versus Elmore. 2 votes. Audriga Giulio. 4 votes. Ava Nile. Best on with 6 votes. Guess who? Olivia Nile extending that lead. Round 11. At White Hills, 4 players in the votes. 2 votes. Ava Nile. 2 votes. Imogen Ash. 3 votes. Audriga Giulio closing the gap to second. Best on with 5 votes. Madeline Nile. Not much movement at the top of the leaderboard in that round. Round 12 back to Tulane versus Heathcote. 3 votes of 2 and a perfect score of 6. 2 votes, Ava Nile. 2 votes, Imogen Ash. 2 votes, Ella Wilkinson. Best on with 6 votes for round 12. Audriga Giulio closing the gap to second and first. A very exciting count. And after 12 rounds, we'll move to be continued. This is a very close vote count, with only 7 votes separating first and second and 4 votes separating second and third. What will happen tomorrow night at St Killian's Hall? Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll move on to our next vote count in a couple of minutes, which will be our first football vote count at 7:20, the under-18s football. Alrighty, back to the vote counts. Our first football vote count of the night. And unlike netball only poll votes for the best and fairest in the home and away season, but football continue their votes for home and away season and into the finals. Unfortunately, the 18s didn't make finals, but that'll be something different when we get to reserves and seniors down the track. Let's start the vote count. Round 1, Elmore. 7 players in the votes. 1 vote, Oscar G. 1 vote, Lincoln Smith. 2 votes, Cam Anderson. 3 votes, Jimmy Toohey. 7 votes to Jackson Nile and Jimmy K. Best on in the first game for 2022 with 9 votes, Kobe Dunlop. Straight to the top of the leaderboard. And lots of green ticks. Round 2, first home game for the year against White Hills. We have a perfect score of 10 at the top of the card. 2 votes, Jimmy Toohey. 3 votes, Cal Craig. 4 votes, Dev Singh. 4 votes, Jimmy K. 7 votes, Kobe Dunlop. Best on with 10 votes, Jackson Nile taking over the lead. Round 3 at Heathcote. Big win to the boys and another perfect 10 at the top of the card. 1 vote, Maxie Harrop. 3 votes, Cal Craig. 4 votes to Dev Singh and Teddy Harrop. And 8 votes, Kobe Dunlop. Best on with 10 votes, Jackson Nile, going to a 3-point lead at the top of the leaderboard. Round 4, back to Tulane. Lots of perfect scores in the under-18s, this time against Leachville. 8 players in the votes. 1 vote, Noah Layton and Oscar G. 2 votes, Cal Craig and Max Harris. 3 votes, Aidan Mundy and Zeke O'Kane. 8 votes, Jackson Nile. Best on with 10 votes, Kobe Dunlop. Closing that gap, only 1 vote between Kobe and Jackson at the top of the leaderboard after round 4. Round 5 versus Huntley. 6 players in the votes. 2 votes, Jimmy Toohey and Noah Layton. 4 votes, Cade Malquini. 6 votes, Kobe Dunlop stays in second, and Oscar G. Best on with 10 votes, Jackson Nile, extending his lead, but there's only 5 votes in it after 5 rounds. Round 6 back to Tulane versus Lockington. 7 players in the votes, no perfect scores at the top. But 2 lots of 9. 2 players played very well. 1 vote, Oscar G. 2 votes, Zeke O'Kane. 3 players on 3 votes, Jackson Nile, Noah Layton and Colby Allen. First player with 9 votes, Cal Craig, moving into third, and best on equal 9 votes, Kobe Dunlop, moving to the top of the leaderboard by 1 vote. Round 7 was a bye. Round 8 was at North Bendigo. We had 5 players in the votes and back with another perfect 10. 3 votes, Oscar G in 5th. 3 votes, Kobe Dunlop, moving back to second. 7 votes, Dev Singh and Zeke O'Kane. Best on with 10 votes, Jackson Nile, taking back the lead at the top of first position. Round 9 back to Tulane versus Colbernabon. 6 players in the vote. We have another 2 lots of 9 at the top. 1 vote, Dev Singh, moving into 4th. 3 votes, Cal Craig and Aidan Mundy. 5 votes, Dylan Waters. 9 votes, Kobe Dunlop. And 9 votes, Jackson Nile. They just won't leave each other alone, polling votes game after game. Round 10, 7 players in the votes. Another perfect 10. Let's start with the first 1 vote, Max Harris. 1 vote, Dylan Waters. 3 votes, Oscar G and Cal Craig, extending his lead in third. 4 votes, Dev Singh, closing that gap. 8 votes, Kobe Dunlop. Best on with 10 votes, Jackson Nile, extending that lead out by 8 votes after round 10. Round 11 at White Hills. 1 vote, Dylan Waters. 3 votes, Cal Craig. 4 votes, Jimmy Toohey and Kobe Dunlop. 8 votes, Oscar G. Best on with 10 votes, Jackson Nile, extending that lead. Round 12 back at Tulane versus Heathcote. This will be interesting. Both Kobe and Jackson played for Heathcote in that game. Apparently polled votes there as well. I wonder if we'll count them here. That's 7 players in the votes. 1 vote, Dev Singh and Cal Craig. 2 votes, Jimmy Toohey and Aidan Mundy. 6 votes, Noah Layton. First year of footy. Well done, Noah. 8 votes, Jackson Nile. Best on with 10 votes, Kobe Dunlop, closing that gap. Round 13, up to Gunbower. 2 votes, Oscar G. 5 votes, Callum Craig and Kobe Dunlop. 8 votes, Dev Singh with a good game, closing in on third. Best on with 10 votes, Jimmy Toohey. Great game. The gap at the top of the leaderboard has just got closer. Only 7 votes in it. Round 14, back to Tulane versus Huntley. 6 players in the vote. 1 vote, Jimmy Toohey. 3 votes, Oscar G. 4 votes, Kobe Dunlop. 4 votes, Noah Layton. 8 votes, Cal Craig. Best on with 10 votes, Dev Singh, moving up to 4th and only 1 vote behind Cal in 3rd. A particularly great game at Tulane for young Dev, who's played really great football this year, so well done. So the gap is tighter. Only 3 votes at the top of the leaderboard between Jackson and Kobe. And then Cal and Dev, only 1 vote separating them for 3rd. And that's where we'll end the under-18s football vote count for tonight. To be continued. Same bat time, same bat channel, just different hall at St Killian's at our presentation night.
got to kick this one here.
4-3 or 3-3?
This is a ball White Hills will put their heads down if he kicks this one here. He's missed it again.
He's
He kicked it.
He's got it.
Mitchy Bennett's
Told
kicked
us
it.
it's the White Hills crowd. How do you like that?
Listen to the Mounts crowd on the far side of the ground.
No, that's a good feeling. Not far away now, but there still could be another 10 minutes to play. I wouldn't like to think. I'd like to think maybe 5 or 6 minutes left, but that just gives a bit of breathing space here. I haven't seen Shane Parker a lot right now. No, I'll take that back. He's rolling in the middle here. He's ready to take a couple of men with him.
Hello. Hopefully I'm back with the audio. Sorry about that. My microphone came through. Thanks for the text messages and the local crowd in the next room. Let's get on to our next vote count. B grade netball, round 1 at Elmore. 5 players in the votes. 1 vote. Be good if I put it on screen. 1 vote. Jess Dooley, 2 votes. Georgia White. I think we've got just over 100 people watching at the moment, so it's the ratings are polling very well. 2 votes. Jenna Donaldson, 3 votes. Lauren Mitchell, 4 votes. Ashley Bowles. On to round 2 at Tulane. 1 vote. Renee Osborne, 2 votes. Jess Rigby, 5 votes. 3 votes. 3 players with 3 votes. Jess Dooley, Rochelle Young, and Lauren Mitchell moving to the top of the leaderboard. Round 3, 4 players in the votes. 1 vote. Lauren Mitchell, 2 votes. Ashley Bowles moving back to 3rd. 4 votes. Renee Osborne moving up to 4th. Best on with 5 votes. Georgia White. It's all tied up at the top of the leaderboard. 7 votes apiece. 1 vote back to Ashley. 1 vote back to Renee. 1 vote back to Jess. 1 vote back to Rochelle. 1 vote back to Jess and Jenna. Round 4. 4 players in the votes. 1 vote Jess Rigby. 2 votes Georgia White. 4 votes Renee Osborne moving up into 2nd. Best on with 5 votes. Lauren Mitchell locking down 1st for herself. Round 5, only 3 players in the votes. Wasn't all necessarily agreed, but the 3 votes went to Ashley Bowles, moving back up into 2nd. 4 votes, Rochelle Young, moving up into 5th. Best on with 5 votes, Lauren Mitchell, extending a lead at the top of the leaderboard. Round 6, back to Tulane versus Lockington. 1 vote, Renee Osborne. 1 vote, Rochelle Young. 2 votes, Jenna Donaldson in 7th. 3 votes, Jess Dooley in 6th. Best on with 5 votes, Ashley Bowles, locking down 2nd. Only 3 votes behind Lauren. Round 7 was a general bye. Round 8 was at North Bendigo. Again, only 3 players in the votes. 2 votes, Cara Thompson, and 5 votes to Jess Dooley and Jenna Donaldson. Jess Dooley moving up into third, only 2 votes behind Ashley, who's 3 votes behind Lauren. Round 9, 5 players in the votes. 1 vote, Cara Thompson, 2 votes. Jenna Donaldson, 2 votes. Helena Morgan, 3 votes. Lauren Mitchell, staying in first but best on with 4 votes. Georgia White, moving up into third. Round 10 was back at Tulane. 5 players in the votes. 1 vote, Lauren Mitchell. There's an opportunity to close the gap now. 1 vote, Jess Rigby. 3 votes, Renee Osborne moving into fourth. 3 votes, Jess Dooley moving up to second. Best on with 4 votes. Rochelle Young moving up to sixth. Very close for the minor placings. Lauren has got a 6.6 vote lead at the top of the leaderboard, roughly at about the halfway mark of the season. Very close for the remainder of the places. Round 11. 4 players in the votes. We have a perfect 6 at the top of the card. And 3 players sharing 2 votes apiece. Jess Rigby, Cara Thompson, Jess Dooley moving back to third. Best on with 6 votes. Georgia White moving into second. Closing that gap by only 2 votes between Georgia and Lauren, and only 2 votes back to Jess. And after 11 rounds of voting for B Reserve Netball, we will finish tonight's count and hold it over for tomorrow night as the excitement builds. The tension in the room will be palpable. Great vote counts so far. Our next vote count will be B grade netball, and that is scheduled for 7:35, which is only 1 minute away. I better get myself organised. All right, back to the vote counts. B grade netball, 7:35. We're on time. Let's hope we can keep that up tomorrow night as well. Round 1, Elmore, 4 players in the votes. 2 votes, Jess Cowell. 2 votes, Georgia Bish, tied up for third. 3 votes, Bella Livingston in second. Best on with 5 votes, Maisie Harrop. Lots of green ticks again for these girls. Round 2 at Tulane. Only 3 players in the votes. Everyone agreed on 2 to Maisie Harrop, 4 to Jess Cowell, and 6 votes to Georgia Watley. All tied up in second. Round 3 at Heathcote. 5 players sharing the votes and a perfect 6. Could be a big move at the top of the leaderboard. 1 vote, Natalie Embleton. 1 vote, Bella Livingston. 2 votes, Georgia Watley moving up into first. 2 votes, Maddie Hartley. Best on with 6 votes, Georgia Bish. All tied up at 8 votes apiece at the top. 1 vote back to Maisie Harrop. 1 vote back to Jess Cowell. Round 4 back to Tulane versus Leachville. 1 vote, Jess Cowell. 3 votes, Maisie Harrop. 3 votes, Georgia Watley. Moving back to second. Best on with 5 votes, Georgia Bish. Now the sole leader in the B grade netball vote count. Round 5 versus Huntley. 5 players in the votes. 1 vote, Georgia Bish. Room to move. 2 votes, Jess Cowell. 2 votes, Lara Bish. 3 votes, Maisie Harrop moving up into second. Best on with 4 votes, Kate Fuller. Coming up to 5th. Equal 5th with Bella. Round 6, back to Tulane versus Lockington. Another good win for B grade netball. 2 votes, Georgia Bish, Madison Gajulio and Kate Fuller. Best on court with a perfect 6 votes, Bella Livingston, moving up the leaderboard to 4th and only 1 vote behind 3rd. Round 7 was a general bye. Round 8, 4 players in the votes. 2 with 1, 2 with 5. 1 vote, Bella Livingston and Natalie Embleton. Sharing the 5 votes, Jess Cow moving into 2nd and Lara Bish moving into 6th. Round 9, back to Tulane versus Colburn Abbon. 1 vote, Bella Livingston and Olivia Nile. 2 votes, Georgia Bish extending a lead. 3 votes, Jess Cow not letting her get away with that extended lead. Best on with 5 votes, Georgia Watley clearing a lead out in 3rd. Very close vote count indeed. 18, 17, 16, 13, 12. Round 10, 4 players in the votes. We have a perfect 6 at the top of the card. 1 vote, Ava Nile. 2 votes, Natalie Embleton. 3 votes, Lara Bish. Best on with 6 votes, everyone agreed, Olivia Nile moving into 7th. Round 11, at White Hills, another perfect 6 to be had at the top of the card. 3 players with 2 votes being Lara Bish, Madison Gajulio and Ava Nile. Best on with 6 votes in round 11. Bella Livingston jumping to the top of the leaderboard jointly with Georgia Bish on 18 votes apiece. 1 vote behind to Jess, 1 vote behind to Georgia. Round 12, B grade netball, back to Tulane versus Heathcote. 6 players in the votes. Not a lot of action on the top of the leaderboard with votes being shared around like this, but let's start with the 1 vote, Georgia Watley. 1 vote, Natalie Embleton. 2 votes, Audrey Gargiulio. 2 votes, Maddie Hartley. 3 votes, Bella Livingston still in first. 3 votes, Ash Bowles. So Bella goes to the top of the leaderboard by herself. Late charge through the mid part of the season. Round 13, 5 players in the votes with a perfect 6 to be had. 1 vote, Kate Fuller. Bella Livingston back to 2nd. 2 votes, Lara Bish and Ash Bowles. Best on court with 6 votes, Georgia Watley. What an exciting vote count we have here. Leaders changing just about every round. And that's where we will cut tonight's vote count off with Georgia Watley leading B-grade netball on 23 votes. Bella Livingston 1 vote behind on 22. Georgia Bish only 4 votes behind Bella on 18. Jess Cowell, Lara Bish, Maisie Harrop all waiting to pounce tomorrow night at St Killian's Hall. The tension of anticipation is building right across Mount Pleasant Netball Football Club. I can see it. Next vote count is our reserve grade football, and that's scheduled for 7:40, which we've already gone over time with that close vote count. I'll get myself organised. There's a few excited boys in that celebration photo on screen now that'll be very excited about their vote count. I'll just have a mouthful of beer, not that I need much more beer after Saturday, Sunday and Monday. And moving to our second football vote count of the night, reserve grade premiers for 2022. And remember, with the football, votes continue through finals. Let's start with round 1. 6 players in the vote. 4 players, 4x4. 4x4. Could have handled one of those in the senior footy. 4 votes, Jack McKenzie. 4 votes, Jez Brewer. 4 votes, Jacob Hoppers-Hopley. 4 votes, Maddie Fitzgerald. 5 votes, Connor Dozer Malquini. 9 votes, Mitch Bennett. Best on in a grand final. Starting the season in 2s and ending it there. Round 2, 9 players in the votes. 1 vote, Tom Chuka Bickley. commentator extraordinaire. 1 vote, Jack Craig. 2 votes, Jacob Smith and Dylan McNamara. 3 votes, Connor Moore and Jackson Hoofer. 4 votes, Jez Brewer moving into second. 5 votes, Ned Burke holding down third by himself. Best on with 9 votes. Guess who? Second twos game for the year, Mitch Bennett. A lot of red crosses there. I think he was playing twos after that, playing seniors after that game. Round 3 with 8 players in the votes at Barrick Reserve, Heathcote. 1 vote, Hooter, Jesse O'Connell. 1 vote, Shane Piper. Congratulations, new dad Shane. 2 votes, Jez Brewer. 2 votes, Dylan McNamara. 3 votes, Jack Hetherington. 5 votes, Jackson Hoofer. And joint best ons with 8 votes apiece, Jacob Hopley and Jack McKenzie, tying it all up in second place with 12 votes each behind Mitch Bennett. They should be able to catch Mitch from here. Round 4, 7 players in the votes, and we have a perfect 10 at the top of the card. 1 vote, Jez Brewer. 1 vote, Jacob Smith. 4 votes, Jimmy Walsh, Harvey G and Shane Piper. 6 votes, Jackson Hoofer moving into second. Best on with 10 votes, round 4, Jesse O'Connell. Must have kicked 48 goals that game. Round 5 at Huntley. Another big win to the twos in a premiership year. 2 votes, Daniel Kerr, the grandfather of the team. 2 votes, Dylan McNamara. 3 votes, Nick Butler on his return to footy. 4 votes, Jimmy Walsh. 4 votes, Shane Piper. 7 votes, Jacob Hopley moving to the top of the leaderboard. 8 votes, Luke Marchese, co-coach, returning to footy after his knee operation through the twos. What a great example, leading by example. Round 6 back at Tulane versus Lockington. 6 players in the votes. 2 votes, Troy Cravino. 3 votes, Jack Hetherington. 4 votes, Connor Moore. 6 votes, Harvey G. 7 votes, Matty Fitzgerald. Best on with 8 votes, Jacob Smith. Round 7 was a bye. Round 8. 8 players in the votes. 1 vote, Zach Featherby. 2 votes, Jackson Hoofer and Jack Craig. 3 votes, Dozer, Connor Malquini. 4 votes, Connor Moore. It's all about the Connors, 2 Connors. 5 votes, Jacob Hopley staying in first. 6 votes, Jack McKenzie moving up to second. And best on with 7 votes, Jack Teasdale. Round 9 back at Tulane versus Colburn Abbon. Massive win to the boys, another perfect 10. 1 vote, Jez Brewer. 3 votes, Jacob Hopley and Ollie Bish. 5 votes, Jack McKenzie, closing the gap on Hoppers. 8 votes, Zeb Murrell. Best on with 10 votes, Zach Featherby. Round 10 versus Elmore at Tulane. A lot of perfect scores again in the twos. 8 players in the votes. 1 vote, Dylan McNamara and Jimmy Walsh. 2 votes, Jez Brewer and Ollie Bish. 3 votes, Zach Featherby and Jack Hetherington. A good game with 8 votes, Connor Moore. Best on with 10 votes, Jesse O'Connell. Must have kicked another bag. Well done, Hooter. Round 11 at White Hills. We lost this one, but that doesn't matter because we won the one that counted. 1 vote, Jesse O'Connell. 1 vote, Matty Fitzgerald. 2 votes, Baxter Ash and Shane Piper. 6 votes, Jack McKenzie. 8 votes, Jacob Hopley still in the lead. Best on with 10 votes, Jackson Hoofer moving into third. Close vote count at the top of the leaderboard. Only 11 between first and third. Round 12 at Tulane versus Heathcote. 1 vote, Ryan Pontel, Reeks. 2 votes, Harvey G. 2 votes, Baxter Ash. 3 votes, Jack McKenzie holding down second. 3 votes, Jackson Hoofer staying in third. 4 votes, Jack Craig. 4 votes, Connor Moore. 5 votes, Jez Brewer. Best on with 6 votes, Nick Butler. Round 13 up at Gumbauer. 8 players in the votes on the longest away trip of the season. 1 vote, Jez Brewer. 2 votes to Troy Cravino and Matty Fitzgerald. 3 votes to Jackson Hoofer and Ollie Bish. 4 votes, Jimmy Walsh, moving on to the leaderboard in 10th. 5 votes, Ned Burke. Best on with 10 votes, Connor Moore moving into second. Round 14 versus Huntley at Tulane. 1 vote, Jack Craig. 1 vote, Dylan McNamara. 2 votes, Harvey G and Baxter Ash. 4 votes, Daniel Kerr and Jacob Hopley moving back to second. 8 votes, Jesse O'Connell. And best on with 8 votes, sharing the vote count with Huda, Jackson Hoofer, moving to the top of the leaderboard with 40 votes after 14 rounds. Round 15 at Lockington. Only 6 players in the votes for this game. 1 vote, Xavier Marr. 3 votes, Matty Fitzgerald. 4 votes, Jack McKenzie. 7 votes, Connor Moore moving to the top of the leaderboard. 7 votes, Chili Dogs, Ridden McIver. Best on with 8 votes, Jimmy Walsh moving up the leaderboard into 6th. Lots of green ticks for some of these players. Round 16 was a bye. And that's where we will end the reserve grade football vote count for tonight. All tied up at the top of the leaderboard with Connor Moore and Jackson Hoofer on 40 votes apiece. 1 vote behind Jacob Hopley, Jack McKenzie, Huda and Jimmy Walsh, all waiting to pounce on the last 2 games of the home and away season and the 4 games through the finals. What an exciting night we're going to have tomorrow night. Our next vote count will be A-Res Netball, scheduled for 7:50, which again is only 1 minute away. You've got to love it when a plan comes together. Alrighty, back to the vote count for our second last netball vote count for the evening. A reserve netball. Starting at round 1 at Elmore, 4 players in the votes. 2 votes, Keely Tupper. 2 votes, Christy Nile. 4 votes, Sarah Menace. 4 votes, Carly Dorrington. We have a tie for first. We have a tie for second after round 1. Round 2, 1 vote, Morgan Watley. 2 votes, Bonnie McIntyre. 3 votes, Sarah Menace into second. Best on with a perfect 6 votes for the round, Carly Dorrington. Going to the top of the leaderboard. Round 3, 4 players in the votes. Another perfect 6 at the top of the card. 1 vote, Sarah Menace. 1 vote, Kristen Lang. 4 votes, Eden McInnes. Best on with 6 votes, Morgan Watley moving into third. Round 4 back home at Tulane versus Leachville. Big win by 30 points. Everyone agreed with the performance on the court on the last day of April. 2 votes, Anthea McCleary. 4 votes, Morgan Watley. Best on with 6 votes, Christy Nile moving up into equal third with Sarah. Only 2 votes off Carly. 3 votes off Morgan at the top of the leaderboard. Round 5 at Huntley. More votes shared with 5 players. Polling votes. 1 vote, Anthea McCleary. 2 votes, Carly Dorrington moving to the top of the leaderboard. 3 votes, Kirsty Nile moving into second. 3 votes to Bonnie McIntyre. 3 votes to Sarah Menace. We have a 3-way tie for second, all just 1 vote behind Carly, who is leading the vote count after 5 rounds. Round 6 was back home at Tulane versus Lockington. 1 vote, Carly Dorrington. 1 vote, Sarah Menace. 4 votes, Christy Nile moving to the top of the leaderboard. Best on with a perfect 6, Bonnie McIntyre moving up the leaderboard into 4th, wanting to join the party. There is only 4 votes between 1st and 4th. Round 7 was a bye. Round 8 At North Bendigo, 1 vote, Keely Tupper. 3 votes, Sarah Menace moving up to second. 4 votes, Maisie Harrop. And 4 votes, Christy Nile, extending the lead at the top of the leaderboard. Round 9, Back Home versus Colbernabon. Another all in agreement, 2 votes. Christy Nile staying on top of the leaderboard. 4 votes, Keely Tupper moving into 6th. Best on with 6 votes, Sarah Menace. All tied up at 21 votes apiece. 8 votes back to Carly. Round 10, back at Tulane versus Elmore. 5 players in the votes. 1 vote, Bonnie McIntyre. 1 vote, Morgan Watley. 2 votes, Carly Dorrington holding down 3rd. 3 votes, Eden McInnes. And 5 votes, best on in round 10. Does this change the leaderboard? Sarah Menace, moving 5 votes ahead of Christy into 1st. Round 11. At White Hills, another perfect 6. 4 players in the votes. 1 vote, Carly Dorrington. 1 vote, Sarah Menace. This could get interesting. 4 votes, Bonnie McIntyre moving up the leaderboard to 4th. Best on court, round 11 with 6 votes. Morgan Watley closing the gap to the leaders in 3rd. Round 12, back home against Heathcote with a big win. 4 players in the votes, a lot of votes at the top of the card. What will this do to the leaderboard? 1 vote, Christy Nile moving back to 3rd. 1 vote, Keely Tupper. 4 votes, Maisie Harrop moving into 6th. Best on court with 6 votes. Morgan Watley moving into 2nd at only 3 votes behind Sarah and 2 votes ahead of Christy. And guess what? This is where we end the ARES netball vote count for this evening. And we will tune in tomorrow night at St Killian's to read the last few rounds before presentation of trophies. Another very close vote count. Our next vote count will be the A grade netball, scheduled for 8 o'clock. And we do have a 5-minute break. So if anyone needs a cuppa, a comfort break, I need to top up my beer. So I might put the footy back on just for a few minutes.
On everywhere there, a couple of blokes there.
Point.
Takey Griffin, like he's done all day and all year. Brick ball down there in defence. He's really got to stand up here as coach.
Has to go wide. He can't go for the middle. They've got numbers in the middle of the ground. And he has. He's gone wide. Deep, looking for Jack McKenzie. Got his fist to it, ball to the ground. White Hills get a rush kick. Hits the target, a handball through. Smitty's there, blocks it up, forces him to handball. Now we get the clearing kick. And this is those players that are sitting in the middle of the ground that we've got to worry about. Smitty will get his fist to this one.
No, he's played high.
Is it going all right? Oh, did you?
He's just punched the ball there, has not impacted the player at all, and the umpire has found a free kick to White Hills.
You want to kick this out, blokes on everywhere there, a couple of blokes there. He's backing himself. You let kick this from every part of 50.
Into the breeze.
It's not too bad off the boot. He's gone the early crow. I think it's home though.
Point.
1
point.
He's carried on there.
So Griffin to kick in again. Got Zach Featherby out here on his own. He's gone short in the middle of the ground hoops. Good option.
Really good option that. Hobby's usually a good ball mover.
It's got to come over the back on this side. He's hit Hooter. Hooter's going to go along, no doubt.
That's a lovely kick.
Gone Zach Featherby.
Oh.
Bad luck.
thrown in here. Wing plus down to Bowles. Or bad luck, Jackie Craig. Nettie Burke lurking. Well done,
Good work. Big rush, kick out.
Towards
It's going
Dozer.
to be a contest. Can't
That's
see
it,
him
yeah.
hard. Got to be a free kick. You never touch the ball.
Hold it,
It's
hold
got to
it.
be a man's kick. Hold it up.
You're going to use this now. 18 gone, you believe?
18 gone.
5 minutes, but it's been gone 18 minutes. 18 and a half. Real smart play here, what? Connor Moore. He's going to go in the guts anyway.
And he's gone to Mitch, who draws the crowd. It's gone over the back. Kent Mount's getting
Jack
under there.
McKenzie.
Get there, Jack. Bad
Oh,
luck.
it's
Get
going to hold
there.
up.
No, bad luck. Just a little bit too much on. The wind just carried it. Kept going, didn't it?
We got the 4-point lead, so you'd rather be down there.
Nah, just needed to score a goal. Yeah, we've had our opportunities. 1 goal 4, 1 goal 3. We kicked this quarter, have we?
1 goal 3, I believe,
Yep,
yes.
yes. So we just needed to score one here, take it to a double-figure lead, which would nearly be the first time for the game, wouldn't it?
It would be. It's been a good game. Mitchy Burnett, feel like he had to do something here. And he's tried to go down. It's worked for him. Head over. He's going to get the free kick. He's tried the free kick. Lucky they didn't take advantage there because Jack Craig's kicked that about 74,000 metres in the air. It's gone about 10 metres.
Almost ball rain. Righto. Can Mitchy Bennett
I'm not saying anything.
slot this one? We've got to back him in.
We're back in the
He's
kick
missed
4-3.
4-3. He's got to kick this one here.
4-3 or 3-3. We'll
This is
say
for
4-3.
White Hills will put their heads down if he kicks this one here. He's missed it again.
He's
No,
got
he
it.
kicked it.
He's got it.
Mitchy Bennett's
Sold
kicked
to
it.
the Warriors crowd. How do you like that?
Listen to the man's crowd on the far side of the ground.
Oh, that's a good feeling. Not
Alrighty, 8 o'clock. Into our second last vote count for the evening, A-grade netball, who only just missed out on making the preliminary final by a couple of points in a very tight game. Let's start the vote count. Round 1 versus Elmore. 3 players in the votes. 3 votes. Ash Tupper. 4 votes. Chantel Moore. 5 votes. Maeve Tupper. Round 2 at Tulane versus White Hills. 2 votes. Maeve Tupper. 4 votes. Ivy Harrop. 6 votes. Alex Hamilton moving into second. Round 3 at Heathcote. 4 players in the votes. 2 votes to Olivia Slattery. 2 votes to Christy Nile. They would have come in handy in that A-res vote count. 3 votes. Ivy Harrop. 5 votes. Maeve Tupper taking the lead. Round 4 back at Tulane versus Leachville. 4 players in the votes. 1 vote. Keely Tupper. 2 votes. Kristen Lang. 3 votes. Olivia Slattery. Best on with a perfect 6 in round 4. Maeve Tupper extending a lead in first, out by 11 votes. Round 5 at Huntley. 1 vote. Maeve Tupper. 3 votes. Ivy Harrop moving into third. 3 votes. Olivia Slattery. 5 votes. Best on. Will this make a dent in the leaderboard? Alex Hamilton moving into second, closing the gap. Round 6. 4 players in the votes. Another perfect 6 to be had. 1 vote. Ivy Harrop. 2 votes. Kristen Lang. 3 votes. Olivia Slattery tying up second place. Best on court with 6 votes. Maeve Tupper extending her lead. It looks at the early days, it's Maeve and the rest. But anyway, still plenty of games to go. Round 7 was a bye. Round 8, 2 votes. Chantel Moore, 4 votes. Alex Hamilton, 6 votes. Maeve Tupper, doubling the lead at the top of the leaderboard. Round 9 back to Tulane v Colbo, 2 votes. Maeve Tupper, there's a chance to close the gap now. 3 votes. Chantel Moore moving into 5th, or holding down 5th. 3 votes. Olivia Slattery moving up to 4th. And best on with 4 votes. Ivy Harrop moving up to share second spot with Alex Hamilton on 15 votes apiece. Round 10, Bakatouline versus Elmore, 2 votes. Chantel Moore in 5th, 3 votes to Maeve Tupper, 3 votes to Kristen Lang. Best on with 4 votes, Olivia Slattery, holding down second in her own right, only 3 votes ahead of Ivy and Alex. Round 11, 5 players in the votes for this game. 1 vote, Ivy Harrop. 1 vote, Ash Tupper. 2 votes, Alex Hamilton, holding down third. 3 votes, Maeve Tupper, extending the lead out to 39 votes, but best on court in round 11 with 5 votes, Chantel Moore, moving up the leaderboard to equal 4th with Ivy. Round 12, Bakatouline versus Heathcote. 2 votes, Ivy Harrop, moving into 3rd. 2 votes, Chantel Moore, moving up to 3rd, equal with Ivy. 3 votes, Maeve Tupper, extending her lead, but best on court with 5 votes, Alex Hamilton, who moves into 2nd spot. And that's a very close vote count for the minor positions. I'm not sure Maeve got injured after this round, but she's doing very well at the top of the leaderboard with 42 votes. All the interest back in the minor placings with Alex Hamilton on 22 votes in 2nd, and a 3-way tie for 3rd, Ivy, Chantel and Olivia on 18 votes apiece. And you guessed it, this is where we will end our A-grade netball vote count for 2022, or the live streamed online version of the vote count. And we'll finish off the remainder of the rounds tomorrow night at St Killian's Hall at our presentation night. Our next vote count is scheduled for our senior football grade, scheduled for 8:10, which is only 5 minutes away. And again, the football voting votes through finals. Back to the reserves football just for a few minutes.
We got young Freddie. It's Shane Walker. I told you the man to be reckoned with.
So we're getting a free kick there, so it's our kick. And 50 metres too.
He's paid 52.
Has he paid 50?
Yellow card. Who's the yellow card there? He's yellow carded someone. Oh, it's been reversed. Look like he showed a card there. I'm not too sure.
Oh, here we go. We're going down. Well done. Well done. Good work. Lock it up.
I'm not sure what went on over there, but nonetheless, to Mounce's credit, that's going to be a stoppage at centre half forward. Hoofer gets there. White Hill's got the run now. White Hills are out. Harvey G does battle.
Come on, Harvey. Bump him off the ball.
Keep it. Oh, he's going to play against Harvey. Yes, played against him. They're off. Go to the big fella.
Good work. Well done, Hooper.
Wow,
Good work. And he's almost to the touch. Throwing it around. Yeah, we're out. Yeah, got Hooper. Line. Hooper's there on his own. Hooper's got it. Yep. Now he's kicking it in. Jack. He's on his own. He's got to get him. He's got to put it back. Oh, it's over one. Tackle! Bella! Almost got it. Mitchie Bennett come flying through. Oh, the free kick. But that's okay. It's a stoppage. Mounce gets set up behind the play.
Yep. Waterloo's free kick. 24-1. Can't you wait any silly? You don't think it's nothing.
He hasn't got it. Here we go. Come back in. Further back in. Mitchie Bennett's there. That's a point.
24-1 last last quarter.
That makes it 12 points. They have to kick 2 goals, 1 or 3 goals to beat us.
Play on, twos, play on. Mounts have just been relentless this last quarter as Ricky Burke gets it. Young man Burke cuts it. Connor Moore to Featherby. He's a known finisher. Over the top to Shane Pauper. He's just going to ride the eyes. Quick on the whistle there. Very quick on the whistle.
That umpire has been terrible all day.
Anyway, that's 2 goals.
That's a miss kick.
Yeah. Anyway, Mounts again.
Feathers again.
This umpire.
Again.
Keep him in the game. He can't get on the left 24.
It's the same umpire every time. Touched, play on, trying to get a tackle on, kick forward, big boys underneath the ball. Another White player looking for a handball, good smother again. Goes in, has another shot. And he's kicked it. Game on.
Wow.
24-minute mark, 1 straight kick deciding the game.
One hell of a game's been. Man's going to go with their best on-field brigade here. Midfield brigade. So you've got Shane Pauper in there, you've got young Connor Moore, Jimmy Walsh and Hoofer. All we need is 1 point, make it a 7-point play, really.
That's all they need. We just need to get it down there. This centre clearance is absolutely crucial. Got to win it out of the middle.
Man on man everywhere down there. Mounts. Hoppers is loose. They're throwing Hoppers on the ball.
Alrighty, back for the last vote count of the evening. The senior grade football scheduled for a 8:10 start, and we are now at 8:10. Let's get into round 1 at Elmore for our final vote count of the evening. We have 7 players in the votes. Again, with football, we count through the home and away season and finals, and the seniors have 3 vote counts that contribute to the best and fairest voting. 1 vote, Bryce Hinnenberg. 2 votes, Chris Down. 3 votes, Bailey White. 6 votes, Zane Kieran. 10 votes, Adam Skinny Baird. 11 votes, Fletcher White, in a great breakout first year in the seniors. Best on with 12 votes, Billy Marnie, straight to the top of the leaderboard. Round 2, back to Tulane versus White Hills, Easter Saturday. 9 players in the votes. 2 votes, Jesse Toohey. 2 votes to Chris Down. 3 votes to Jack Teasdale. We had 3 players with 5 votes. Fletcher White moving into 3rd. Billy Marnie back to 2nd. And Zane Kieran. 6 votes, the big Dean Tidell. 8 votes, Ben Waitman moving up to 5th. Best on with 9 votes, Adam Baird moving to the top of the leaderboard. Co-coach and a great year. Round 3, Barrack Reserve, Heathcote. 8 players in the votes. 1 vote, Mitch Bennett back in the seniors. 2 votes, Chris Down. 2 votes, Adam Baird. 3 votes, Billy Marnie. 8 votes to Sam Green and Zane Kieran. 9 votes, Jesse Toohey. Best on with 12 votes in round 3, Ben Waitman, tying 2nd place up between Billy and Ben. Only 1 vote behind Adam. 1 vote to Zane Kieran. And 3 votes back to Fletcher. Round 4 at Tulane versus Leachville. Big win. 8 players in the votes. 1 vote, Chris Down and Mitch Bennett. 2 votes to 2 Ruckman. 2 votes to Bailey White. 3 votes to Pat O'Brien. 4 votes, Riley McNamara. 7 votes, Jesse Tui. 13 votes, Billy Marnie. And best on with 14 votes, nearly the perfect score, Ben Waitman, moving to the top of the leaderboard. Round 5 at Huntley, big 101 point win, and we have a perfect score of 15 at the top of the card. 1 vote, Bailey White. 3 votes, Billy Marnie. 3 votes to Riley McNamara and Paddy O'Brien. 5 votes, Jack Hamilton. 7 votes, Ben Waitman. 8 votes, Zeb Murrell. This could be a big move on the leaderboard with best on 15 votes. Adam Baird back up into second, tying with Billy, and only 5 votes behind Wanger. Round 6, another perfect score at the top of the card. 1 vote, Riley McNamara and Billy Marnie back to third. 2 votes, the big guy, big fella Dean Tidell. 3 votes, Paddy Dogger O'Brien. 5 votes, Benny Waitman still at the top of the leaderboard. 6 votes, Adam Baird in second. 12 votes, Fletcher White. Best on with a perfect score of 15, round 6, Mitch Bennett. Welcome back to seniors. Round 7 was a bye. Round 8 at North Bendigo. This is the game we actually won. The official result had us behind by 1 point. Pity they were given a couple of goals that weren't theirs, but we have another perfect 15 points, 15 votes at the top of the card. 8 players polling in round 8. 1 vote, Cam Moore and Mitch Bennett. 2 votes, Daniel Whiting and Bryce Hinnenberg. 6 votes, Sam Green. 8 votes, Trav Baird. 10 votes, Billy Marnie back into second. And with a perfect 15 votes, best on in round 8, Ben Waitman, extending his lead at the top of the leaderboard. Round 9, back to Tulane versus Colburn Abbon. A great come from behind 2-point victory at home. 4 votes, Bailey White. 6 votes, Zane Kieran. 8 votes, Ben Waitman. 8 votes, Mitch Bennett. 9 votes, Fletcher White. Best on with 10 votes in a great win, Chris Down in the ruck, in the middle, rucking all day, moving into 8th on the leaderboard in 8th. Round 10 at home to Elmore. We were behind in the third quarter from memory in this game and came back strong to get a good win. 7 players in the votes. 1 vote, Bryce Hinnenberg. 2 votes, Chili Dog Ridden McIver. 3 votes, Sam Green. 3 votes to Jesse Tui. 10 votes, Chris Down. And sharing best on ground duties for round 10 with 13 votes is Mitch Bennett and Ben Waitman, extending his lead out with 82 points in first place after 10 rounds. Round 11. Round 11 has got 11 players in the votes, sharing them around on a close game against White Hills. Again, on that boggy track with that rough set of wicket. Good comeback from behind final quarter, and we have a perfect 15 votes at the top of the card. 1 vote to Mitch Bennett, Will Wallace and Paddy O'Brien. 2 votes to Sam Green and Jess Tui. 3 votes to Riley McNamara and Billy Marnie. 4 votes Bailey White and Ben Waitman. 9 votes to Fletcher White, who had a great game, but with a perfect score of 15 votes, all 3 people agreed. Chris Down moving up the leaderboard into 4th, and a lot of green ticks ahead. Round 12 against Heathcote at Tulane. 3 votes, Fletcher White and Connor Mulquinny. 4 votes, Zeb Murrell. 5 votes to Billy Marnie in second and Ben Waitman holding down first. 6 votes, Jesse Tui. 9 votes, Chris Down moving up into third. Best on with 10 votes in round 12. Jack Hamilton onto the leaderboard in 10th. Round 13. 9 players in the votes, and we have a perfect 15 votes at the top of the card again. 1 vote, Daniel Whiting. 1 vote, Zane Kieran. 2 votes, Bailey White. 4 votes, Zach Featherby. 5 votes to Sam Green and Zeb Murrell. 6 votes to Fletcher White and Chris Down, who holds down third. Best on with 15 votes. Up at Gunbower, Billy Marnie closing the gap to Ben. Only 21 votes now separating first and second. Round 14, back to Tulane versus Huntley, another big win. 9 players in the votes, 1 vote Zeb Murrell, 2 votes Fletcher White, 3 votes Bryce Hinnenberg, 4 votes Riley McNamara, 5 votes Billy Marnie holding down second, 6 votes Jesse Toohey, 7 votes Sam Green, had a great year in the back line, 8 votes Chris Down in the middle, best on with 9 votes Zach Featherby. Great game in round 14. Round 15. Up to Lockington. Smashed in the first quarter, then came home strong. 7 players polling this day, 3 with 2 votes. Sam Green, Bailey White, Bryce Hinnenberg, all the 3 boys on that half back line, in the back line. 9 votes. Adam Skinny Baird and Chris Down, 10 votes. Will Wallace, and best on with 11 votes up at Lockington, Ben Waitman, extending his lead. Round 16 was a bye. Round 17 was home to North Bendigo, where we could get revenge after that 1-point loss on the postage stamp ground at Atkins Street. 8 players in the votes. 3 votes Sam Green in 8th. 4 votes Bryce Hinnenberg and the big Dean Tidell. 5 votes Riley McNamara. 6 votes Billy Marnie moving into second. 7 votes Jesse Toohey. 7 votes Chris Down, tying up second place with Billy, best on with 9 votes. Daniel Whiting moving up into 16th position, just not quite on the leaderboard as yet. So after 17 rounds of football, we only have one final home and away game left, and then we have the 3 finals games. And this is where we'll end tonight's count, where Ben Waitman in first position on 102 votes, 21 votes ahead of Chris Down and Billy Marnie, tied for second. Fletcher White, Skinny Baird, who missed a lot of games, polling well on 51. Jess Toohey in the middle. So again, if we get along to St Killian's Hall tomorrow night, we'll see the end of all these vote counts. They're all poised very close, either for first, second or third position. It's been a great season. Thanks for tuning in to our online vote count for 2022. And on that note, we'll call the evening's events finalised. I hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. Go Mouts.